Hello there, welcome to India Moon. In this tutorial series, you are going to learn everything about the Python programming language. To start, I will cover two major parts. Number 1, why choose Python in the first place? Number 2, how to get started. First of all, why choose Python in the first place? For that, you have to be aware that there are hundreds of programming languages and usually, a language is made for a specific purpose. For example, JavaScript was initially developed to make websites interactive and super shiny, although ever since then, it basically expanded to do pretty much everything. Python, on the other hand, was originally developed to teach people coding. Back then, it wasn't even meant to be an actual programming language, but over time, it grew very fast and was steadily expanded, eventually becoming a real programming language that was surprisingly popular. Today, Python is arguably the most popular programming language. With that, we are getting a couple of advantages. Most importantly, because of its history, Python is incredibly easy to learn and to use. It is incredibly streamlined, very forgiving, and makes it super easy to find mistakes. On top of that, there is a huge community around Python, which is amazing if you have a question or want a tutorial because somebody probably already asked a question or made a tutorial on it. Also, because of this huge community, there are lots of expansions to Python that all make the language even more useful. Finally, Python is primarily used for data analysis, artificial intelligence, and servers or data stuff in general. These are jobs that are very much in demand and generally well paid. However, you have to be aware that there are some disadvantages when it comes to Python. The most noticeable one is that Python is comparatively slow. It sacrifices speed to be more flexible and easy to use, which, in most cases, is not going to matter for your specific purpose. For most cases, it isn't really going to make a difference, and lots of modules in Python are actually getting around this limitation. Where you notice this limitation the most is in game development. Now, you can make games in Python, but it's not really a professional thing most of the time. It's either a hobby or a way to learn programming. If you want to learn actual game development, you would want to use a game engine like GDAU, Unreal, or Unity. Besides that, Python isn't really used for apps or user interfaces. Once again, you could be using it for that purpose, but there are better tools available. You would rather use React or something like Flutter, which are giving you significantly more and better tools. Finally, Python is giving you less control over the hardware. Now, this, in most cases, is a kind of control you don't really care about. For example, in other languages, you could control the memory management of your computer, and if you don't know what that means, don't worry too much about it. You are probably not going to use it in the first place. The general philosophy of Python is to abstract all of these problems away so you can focus on the actual logic of what you are trying to achieve. With that, you might have the question, if you are just starting, what programming language should you start with? And for that question, Python is usually a good answer. Mostly because it is incredibly easy to learn. What you can do, if you don't end up liking Python or want to do something else, it is very easy to switch to another programming language and then retain most of the knowledge. Programming languages share a lot of ideas, meaning if you know Python, it becomes significantly easier to learn something like C++ or JavaScript or literally any other programming language. Alright, now with all of that, we have to talk about how to use Python. And there are two steps to that. Number 1, we have to install Python itself. It's just going to be another file on your computer. After that, we are going to need a code editor. I am going to use Visual Studio Code or Versus Code in short, which is, I think, the most popular code editor. Although there are quite a few alternatives. Sublime, Python, and Atom are really popular ones as well, and there are loads more. If you already know some coding and you have a code editor that you really like to use, you can totally keep on using that one. In second lecture, we understand how to install Python in our computer, and if you understand Python, please like and subscribe my YouTube channel. Thanks friends, happy coding.